Good morning. Welcome to David Stevens' garden here up in Rugeley. We are socially distanced. I'm sure you can see that, but we are here obviously because of the disappointing news that we aren't able to have Gardeners World Live this year because of the situation of the country. But we thought that we would tell you a little bit today about what we were actually going to be building at the show, because David and myself have done quite a bit together, and we had something quite exciting to do this year. But I'm going to hand you over to David in a minute, who's going to talk about his involvement with the show, because it's gone back a lot of years, hasn't it, David?
That's Phil, and it's a great show. Gardeners World is down to earth, and I opened it with Jeff Hamilton, 28 years ago, I think now. We both cut the ribbon together because I was doing a lot of TV then on Gardeners World as well. Did it for a number of years then I gave it a miss because it all changed management, all sorts of things happened in the intervening years. And then 4 years ago now, I was kindly invited back by the BBC and Gardeners World to build 5 gardens for each decade of the Gardeners World programme.
Yeah.
And being an old so-and-so, I was one of the few people that can remember the 5 decades. So we built one for the 60s, one for the 70s, one for the 80s, one for the 90s, and one for the noughties. And they were a huge hit with the public because so many people came along and said, oh, I remember that, or my gran had a garden. And we did things like in the 60s garden, crazy paving, which was the thing then because nobody had that much money. But people came along and said, oh, I'd like some of that. Yeah. So APL members may well be laying a lot of crazy paving
I think they are. They are.
And since then it went on from there. We did a big garden with wire vale, which I think had one of the longest borders ever been created at a flower show. It was 94 feet long, in old language. And it took a lot of planting. Yeah. And we were lucky enough to win a platinum award, the first platinum award actually ever awarded at the show, which was super. But, I mean, it all comes back to teamwork. And I think I'm very conscious as a designer, and I'm afraid not all designers are, but we are a team, and the landscapers are really an important part of that. In some ways, they're the most important part of it. You can have a good idea, but if you can't get the thing built properly, what's the point of doing it? So the APL is absolutely vital in that process, and I love the show now because with the APL Avenue, which is something to behold in actual fact, a number of landscapers can be up 5 or 6 landscapers?
5 landscapers.
5 landscapers, build gardens, which I always like because they're practical.
Yeah.
But the APL, I think it's just the thing about contractors, they're practical people.
Yeah.
So they build gardens that are practical, are elegant, well designed, but they work for people, and that's the most important thing, I think, anyway.
I think I think what you say about APL Avenue is exactly right. When we came up with the concept, what would have been 6 years ago now, we wanted to build realistic and attainable gardens that the public could come. The idea was that there was a value set against them so that they could see how much that sort of space would cost them. And I'm happy to say that we've had 30 different landscapers through there now, some wonderful designers and some excellent projects along the way, and it's become one of the highlights of the show.
It's a key part of the show.
Yeah.
I think the other thing about landscapers, because they use materials, they do clever things with materials, and I've seen things I say, that's a bloody good idea, and I'll put it in my designs.
Yeah.
So, and it's this contractor-designer relationship, and with nurseries obviously, that is so important. You get 3 things: designer, contractor, nurseryman, and those are the things that really create any sort of garden, whether it's a show garden or a real garden.
It's the holy trinity.
Exactly,
isn't it?
It's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And on the whole, landscapers are a friendly bunch, and if you don't put on airs and graces, we all work together and we get the job done. And I think one of the things that really excited me was the young landscapers competition, because that's such an interest, and from World Skills as well.
And of course you designed the first young landscapers garden for us.
And that's my philosophy in many ways, that if you're a designer creating something, you should work with the contractor, with the people that build the garden, because then you get the best out of it, and we both work off one another.
Yeah, it's so good to hear you say about the relationship between designer and landscaper, because as you know, I manage the APL, and we have designer members, we have landscaping members, and we have this conversation all the time, and it seems that both parties want to work together, but actually it always seems that quite often when they get to site, the relationship does tend to drift a little bit. And
Which is a shame, isn't it? Really?
It is a shame.
I mean,
and,
designer has to take that time.
yeah.
I mean, the problem is always with budgets, and still, you know, the APL and designers have not a battle, but we have to educate our clients, our customers, as to what a fair garden costs, a fair price, and it can't get built for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm afraid some of the television programs don't always back that up.
Well, I was going to come on to that actually, that there are quite a few out there that give these unrealistic budgets of £3,000–4,000 for a garden makeover, and you're quite right, it isn't true. You can't do it for that, and sometimes they claim it's materials only. I sometimes even don't think you could get the materials for that, not on the open market.
No, you can't.
But that's another story,
Exactly.
and it's one that rumbles on all the time. But that brings us on to what lies beneath. So the APL first did a What Lies Beneath garden at Ascot with Claudia de Jong.
Yep.
I think that was 2017, and it was quite a small affair, but the idea behind it, and the brief that Isolite came to you with, was we wanted to show what was underneath the facade or the veneer that's on the top surface, to educate the clients into the amount of work that goes on under the surface, and the costs that are related to that. Now, you came up with an absolutely amazing, I have to say it's going to be a challenging build, but
I mean, I have to say, again, it's been a joint project, and we all threw ideas into the pot. But you're absolutely right. People don't realise what goes underneath. You know, they see the top surface, but it's all down to preparation. It's like wallpapering. If you don't do your preparation properly and do your rubbing down, and then it's going to look a bad job. And landscaping is exactly the same. And what we've really come up with is, if you like, taking a slice through the garden, a vertical slice, raising that up to eye level, and it's a walk-through garden, so people can actually walk through, turn their head and see, there's paving, there's type 2, there's mortar. That's how the sub-base works, all of those things. That's how a net post goes into the ground, or how a mature tree is guided to prevent it or to keep it stable. Different kinds of surfaces. I know it's always a contentious subject, but easy grass, artificial turf, we've done that. We're looking at water and water features. We've taken a slice through a pool with a glass front. I say we haven't. It's a great thing about design. You can visualise it in the future. But what we tried to do is to have a walk-through garden, and then the vertical section turns into a horizontal section on the other side of the pathway, so they can see what the finished garden will look like and walk through.
I think that's what was most exciting when you showed me the design. You were describing it to me over the phone, I remember, and I was scratching my head and thinking, God, this is going to cost a lot, and it will. But it was, when I saw the drawing and the fact that you could be walking on something and then you turn to your left-hand side and you could see what you were walking on. I think it's ingenious, really, and it'll work. We've got lots of support from industry who want to help. I know that Marshalls are going to help us out with all the paving and things like that, and J. Jones again have come along and said that they're going to help us with the plants. So we've got support, and then of course we've got all the APL members that want to get involved as well. So I think we had about 7 different contractors that were going to come up and give us a hand.
As long as they're not all on site all at the same time.
No, that's my job then, is to bring them in, and I think we're going to get the young landscapers to come and give us a hand.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
So, and the young landscapers obviously will be fresh from their world skills experience, and I think it could be a very exciting project. And what's the scale of it again? Remind
Well,
me.
it's quite a big garden again. It works out at about must be nearly 20 metres long. By about 9–10 metres wide, so it's a good sized garden, but it'll be an interesting one to build. Because I think it's the first time it's been done in that format. So
first time it's been done, and to that scale as well. And we're going to have booklets on the day explaining, because the APL have gone through and have written up guidelines for the clients and for contractors to use, so that they can see how to build these things. And then at the end of the garden, we're going to have a little area, maybe a little office or something where people can come in and ask some questions. And I think you've said kindly that you might be there.
And I think, you know, it's a team again. The landscapers are going to be there talking to potential customers. You'll be there, obviously, fronting up the APL, which is great. And design-wise, I'm more than happy to explain what's going on and help where I can.
Yeah, we're all really looking forward to next year, next June, Gardeners World Live next June, where there will be another APL Avenue. We've got another 5 landscapers ready to build gardens there. We'll have What Lies Beneath with the young landscapers as well. So it's all going to be ramping up to a very exciting show.
I think that's the point. And having this year, I think people will be even more keen to get back and get gardening again.
Yeah.
Get gardening with the APL. Why not?
Why not? Well, what a great way to end. All right. Well, thank you very much, David. That's been brilliant. And we look forward to seeing you all next year at Gardeners World Live 2021.
Exactly.
With all the nurseries and all the other bits and pieces that go on there. And thank you very much.
A pleasure.